is... So we actually spent... I don't want to read it, I feel bad. Hey everyone, it's me, Isa, and welcome back to my channel. One of my most frequently asked questions ever since I gave birth was, how much does it cost to have a child? How much have our expenses changed ever since having a baby? And honestly, just anything related to the financial side of having a child. And of course, I am more than happy to answer it for you. I actually really welcome questions like this because it shows me that you guys are being responsible adults, which is really important, especially when it comes to having a baby. So in this video, we're going to be taking out receipts, researching and checking purchase histories and all that jazz, because we're actually going to talk about how much it actually costs to have a baby in the Philippines. Enjoy! Please don't forget to like and to subscribe to my channel. I'm being a good YouTuber by reminding you guys to do that. Before we start this video, I just wanted to give a few disclaimers. Number one, obviously, and I don't know why I have to say it, but this video is not intended to brag. And number two, each pregnancy is unique. So this is just meant to give you an estimate. I'm also going to be giving some tips on how you can save during your pregnancy. So here are some things that I think are super important for me to take note of. Number one, I was pregnant where the panini restrictions were heightened. Kind of spat myself there. So prices may differ from when the protocols were different. I went to a private doctor. I am exclusively breastfeeding. I'm gonna scoot over here. So let's obviously start with before. The only expense that I added during or before I got pregnant was I started taking folic acid, and I'd say that's about 500 pesos a month. That's actually like a supplement that will make your eggs better. So now let's go to the pregnancy part. So I think the number one expense would probably be your doctor's visit. So I went to a private doctor and her rate was about 800 pesos per visit. During the span of your pregnancy, you will have about 10 to 15 doctor's visits. Obviously, it depends on the status of your pregnancy, if you're healthy, or if you have some complications. I don't exactly know how many doctor's visits I had, but I know that I had less because we had 2 months where we didn't visit our doctor because of the heightened restrictions, and everything was fine up until like the 8th to 9th month. So I know that there are packages at hospitals, especially if you don't mind staying in a ward. I know that there are packages where you can pay 2,000 pesos every time you get a doctor's visit, Murashag installation until you give birth. And that will already give you access to a doctor, and that will cover the fees of a normal delivery. So that's one way that you can save. Also, if you really are tight on your budget, you can also go to your local health centers, and I know that those are for free. So that's one way that you can save. Yes, I know this because I did this in college. For mga tests that I had to do, including ultrasounds and stuff like that, I would have to budget around 8,000 to 10,000 pesos for this. But apparently, when you get pregnant, probably get an ultrasound probably like twice or thrice. Your first one is your definitive test to check if you're actually pregnant. The second one is your congenital anomaly test, and that's also your sex reveal or gender reveal. And the third one is probably if you want to get a 4D ultrasound, which is an excess already, and the next one is like if wala lang, if something happens. And that's about like 900 to 1,000 or 1,200 pesos depending on where you go. I would have to just budget around 8,000 to 10,000 pesos for all your doctor's visits, because you'll get like glucose tests, HIV tests, and all that stuff. Aside from that, you also have to spend on your supplements while you're pregnant. I'd have to say like 1,000 pesos per month. So that's 1,000 times 9. So what I just talked about were expenses mostly for me as the mom. Now let's talk about the baby things. Honestly, we probably spent on clothes, I would say, less than 2,000 pesos. We got so much hand-me-downs, and one way that you can really save on clothes and stuff like that is really to just borrow from friends, buy second-hand. I love going online and checking kind of mga live sellers for second-hand clothes for babies. You will find out that babies will wear clothes for like what? A month or 2 months. Like once or twice, honestly. Kadali or yung kaayo, and then they won't fit in it anymore. I used to feel bad that I would give North like second-hand clothes because I was thinking na, oh, this is my son, I should at least give him something new. But like when you're there, you're just like, whatever, who cares? And so I greatly benefited from borrowing and getting second-hand clothes. Maybe we spent the most on furniture, and I would have to say we've probably spent around like 10,000 pesos on those stuff. So that includes like
bed frames, bookshelves, high chairs, a car seat, but
And like just the little miscellaneous stuff like hygiene and other stuff like that, I'd have to say we spent around like 3,000 pesos. So let's get to the good part. I know a lot of you want to know how much we actually spent on the hospital when I gave birth. Something I have to note is that I gave birth at a private hospital, and also I had an epidural. I got 2 shots of epidural before I found out that I had to be operated via C-section because Le Babe would not come out because I was diagnosed with CPD. So we ended up actually spending a lot of money because I have that. The bulk that we paid, and I don't even think that this includes North's expenses, is so we actually spent, I don't want to read it, I feel bad, is my bill, our bill, or my, I don't even know how to say it. So actually, okay, so this is how, I'm just going to stop beating around the bush. So we actually spent around 136,587.59 pesos. I think we should also take into account that this was an emergency C-section. I was in the labor room for a lot longer than I had expected. 136,000 for me, and maybe just everything, including all the rapid tests that we had to take before I gave birth. I would honestly have to say that we probably spent around 200,000 for my delivery. Panganak pa no, Merisi. Here are some ways that you can prepare yourself if some ways that you can actually save for this is to pray na dili ka cesarean section. Aside from that, you can go to your local health center, but I honestly would not suggest it if it's your first baby. Another one is to go check out the different plans of the hospitals, kung sila mga packages there. Alright, so we just unpacked that. Okay, so let's talk about my life after North came. Let's just get into it before I forget. So for your electricity, our electricity bill has probably increased from 2,000 to 4,000 pesos more on top of our original bill. I know 4,000 sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but also North really likes AC. Like, he likes it really cold, and he'll sleep in a sando while tugnaw kay ang room, and I'm trying to fix that. Obviously, one way that you can fix that is to not anad your kids sa aircon, but you know, it is what it is. On diapers, I'd have to say that it's probably an additional of 3,000 pesos per month. Doctor's visits are 500 pesos a month, plus vaccines. Vaccines can run up to 4,000 to at 1,700 pesos per visit. One way that you can save, let's say on diapers, you can save by using reusable diapers, checking out your local health center. If we weren't living in a pandemic, I would honestly bring North to a health center, because I used to administer these vaccines for free to health centers. And that's really one way that you can save, and it's just so practical. Imagine if you have 2 kids, like, it's gonna be so much. So hopefully the next baby, we will not be in a panini and we can bring our children to a health center. So yeah, this is basically more or less how much you would spend if you had a baby. I'm adding what I think you would spend if you actually like had to go out and buy a lot of the things. And yeah, that's it. Obviously, you can't spend more, but you can spend less. So narana nimo as a parent, upcoming parent, asa ka mo diskarte where you're gonna save money and stuff like that. So one thing that I would say, especially when it comes to bottles, because baby bottles are so expensive, we have about like, I'd say 15 bottles that we barely use. So I would honestly say that if you intend on breastfeeding, maybe hold off on the baby bottles. Maybe get 3 for now, and then if you do realize along the way that you can't produce milk, then get more. But don't buy a whole lot at the start and then end up not using it like us. If you're about to have a baby, or if you're considering having children, kayod before kiyod, okay? And yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I will try my best to answer them. If I don't do a part 2, I always do open question and answers on my Instagram, so you can check it out. It's Issaplease on Instagram and on Twitter and on everywhere else. And yeah, my Hana will be back very soon. And in the meantime, I'm just going to be playing around with my blog, and I hope you guys like it. So yeah, don't forget, knowledge is power. Bye!